One of the options offered in the double knitting board sampler is to turn your scarf into a keyhole scarf. That means there will be a slot so one tail can slide through the slot and the scarf stays on by itself. Very good for the accessory impaired like me. When you want to create the slot or the keyhole, it's time to bind off some of the stitches. In this bulky scarf, I chose to bind off the 6 center stitches by transferring all the front stitches to the back board, then using a crochet hook and a separate length of yarn to chain them off. So they're bound off, and this will be the bottom of the slot. Picking up each pair of stitches, making a yarn over, pulling it through all the loops that are now on the crochet hook, and repeating for all 6 stitches. When the last pair of stitches is bound off and there is a single loop left on the tool, we will hang that loop on the next peg over. So that is the bottom bind off of the keyhole. But of course we need a top because we want to keep on knitting up the length of the scarf. And what we need to do is cast the same stitches back on immediately. And we'll do that just as we cast on the beginning of the scarf. I've turned the board because I think I can make it easier for you to see what's going on from this angle. Do the stockinette wrap over the empty pegs and include 1 peg to each side so these things will be locked together. So I bound off 6 pegs, but I'm acting as though I'm casting on 8. When the last one is wrapped, I will be able to knit a stitch over to lock my yarn into place because there is already a stitch on that peg. One of the advantages of including the center 8 instead of just the 6 that are empty. The other is stronger corners on the slit. Now we are going to add an anchor cord just as at the beginning of the project. And if you need to review that, if this isn't enough information shown here, you can always rewatch the introductory video. But basically we're laying a contrasting piece of yarn across those stockinette wraps so as to be able to get control of them and pull them down until the fabric is long enough that we can grab hold of it. Get both ends of the yarn pulled safely through, knot them together, and then we can go on knitting. It really is just exactly what we did when casting on the piece, the only difference being that we're only doing it across a few empty pegs. Now just continue knitting the scarf to whatever length you have decided on, and this is what you will see when the project is complete. Bottom of slit is already bound off. We know we did that. Now we need to do the top. So insert the hook tool, whether you're using a latch tool or a crochet hook, and bind off as we bound off the cast on in the finishing video. That is, find each wrap and pull one through the next in order all the way across. When they're all pulled through, we can fasten the 2 yarn tails together, weave them in, remove the anchor cord, and everything will be finished and smooth, and the slit will wear a long time with you sliding the yarn tail in and out of it. No problem whatsoever. This is very neat. So here we are, the beginning and ending yarn tail for the slit are knotted together. We're removing the anchor cord, and that's all there is to it. Except, of course, for pulling those 2 ends in between the layers of fabric and snipping off any excess, as we do with all the ends when finishing. If you find that you like keyhole scarves for double knitting, I have some other patterns in my Ravelry store that might also interest you. Here they are.